Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Bigfoot Roundtable. So, I'm going to say hi to our panelists here. Hi, Nikki. How you doing? Ladies first.
How are you? I'm good. Thanks.
I'm good.
It's been a while. Been a month. Been more than a month.
I know. They click by fast. It's getting crazy. The older I get, the faster they go.
Well, you've been so busy, so you guys have been all over the place.
Yeah. So, how you doing, Joe? How's Texas?
Full of pollen.
Pollen. Oh,
allergies. Crazy allergies.
Crazy.
I actually drove through a snowstorm today, so there's no pollen involved.
Wow. It was hot down here today.
Was it?
It was 75. It was like 75 here. It was beautiful, but windy, and even buds you can start seeing them on the trees already.
Yeah, I'm down in Klamath Falls, Oregon, which is not too far from Crater Lake, which is up in the mountains. So that's where we're at. Hey, Tobe, how's it going?
Hey there. Hello, Scott. Hello, Squatching Cowboy. Hello, Nikki.
Hello.
Hello, Jay Fritz.
Hey, Tobe, how's things up in Washington? Washington. There's an R in that word, by the way.
Washington.
Oh my God. Everything's overtaxed and overridden with crime. It's an actual dumpster fire. If you want to move here, really reconsider it. Go to the far stretches. Go to a red state. I said it. No red.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Okay.
So,
but you have pretty mountains, though.
Yeah, it is pretty in some places.
Not in Olympia, not in Seattle. There's no squatches there even.
No, okay. Yep. So,
hey, Flat Rock.
Hey, I was going to say, we got a lot of people in chat. So, hi, everybody in chat. I'm not even, wow, I can't even go through the names. But, excuse me while I cough up a lung. And, well, tonight, I want to talk about, here we go. I'm going to throw this at these guys. We're going to talk about evidence. Bigfoot evidence. I know this might sound weird, but why isn't there any Bigfoot evidence? Or is there?
I was going to say, is there not any Bigfoot evidence? I don't know. I thought there was. You know, what gets me is that they send these hair samples in, and they say that they don't come back as any known species. Well, they don't acknowledge that Bigfoot is a species, so of course it's not going to come back as any known species. So there's Bigfoot evidence right there in the hair.
Yeah, so that's my thing that I wanted to talk about today. So, okay, we're going to go with, let's start off with blurry photos of Bigfoot. Okay.
Okay.
Now, do people get photos of Bigfoot all the time? Are 100% of these photos faked?
Well, one of them's real.
One on the bottom left-hand corner.
Well, what does Ron always say? He says, in order for there to be a real dollar bill, there has to be a counterfeit one, or vice versa. So there has to be a real McCoy out there for people to be basing this off of. And I say Patty all the way. Patty for the win.
Yeah, that's the
ding,
real
ding,
dollar
ding.
Yeah. So
I've always said that, you know, out of there's 1,000 people out there that said they have encountered Bigfoot. If 999 of them are lying, if there's one person on there telling the truth, don't that mean that there's evidence of Bigfoot?
Mm-hmm.
If just one person is telling the truth.
Right. So So here's something I do a lot is I had an encounter myself. I saw 2 Bigfoot myself. Just to point it out, I took a picture.
Oh yeah, I didn't even see that one, Scott. That one too. Bottom left and top right.
This, why won't it do it? Okay, I'm trying to get my pen to work here. This photo right here, I took myself. I saw these 2 Bigfoot with my very own eyes. And I can show people that photo and they'll look me straight in the eye and say Bigfoot doesn't exist. So
That's when it comes down to whether you believe the person who took the photo.
Exactly.
Like, you know, I believe you. I think I know a little bit about you. I'm learning more about you and your integrity and what kind of representation you have, what you put out, and that makes a difference.
Right.
Because if I was just to see that photo out there in the world and didn't know it belonged to you, I would hold it questionable, you know.
Right.
Mhm.
More because of our biases that happens, you know.
Right.
Because over time we're told Bigfoot looks like this, Bigfoot looks like this is the shape of their head, this is how we are expected they are to look, according to all of the encounter stories that are out there. And maybe those don't really look like that, you know, a very wide, huge chin out, and a flatter looking head to me on the top. It doesn't have that, what I would think looks like a Bigfoot, you know, more, I don't know, cartoonish looking.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that you took that photo. You said you took that photo.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's created another part to, wow, you know, okay, if that's what they look like, maybe I don't want to go out there looking for these things. You know?
Okay.
So
So I can, but the thing is, I can explain a lot of stuff with this photo because I took the photo myself, and it, I spent 3 days there after I took that photo. I've got a photo of them not standing there. I shot lasers through trees. I know exactly how far away it was, how far it was from my camera. The little one was 6 foot tall. I don't know how big the big one was, because in order to look up the hill to see me, the one in the background was actually bent over at the waist, looking straight up to see me through that opening. So its head was tilted completely back. So you may not even see the top of its head because of the way it was looking at me. I have 16-inch footprints. I have 9-inch footprints where they were standing. I've got the casts for those and everything. So I've got all the evidence for that, the best I can, you know.
and that's what we would hope. It's rare, you know, that you have the before and after pictures and that you've got all the supporting evidence for that photo. And it makes all the difference.
Yeah, and when I do my talk at these shows, I talk about that. Go ahead, Tobe. Were you raising your hand?
You're muted.
You're muted. Why is Tobe
muted?
There you go. Okay.
Some people prefer me that way. So when it comes to evidence, we're in a big heap of trouble right now regarding everything. We're in deep S because of what's happening as far as AI.
Yes.
We could all be having a conversation right now on camera with my voice, Nikki sounding the way she does, you, Scott, with a beard. The whole thing could be happening right now, and we could be fast asleep. You know, the government's had this power for long before commercial success of releasing it to us. So look what's coming to us probably in the next 5 years. I could do my full audio book of the Owl Moon Lab with my voice based upon 30 seconds of my voice in an AI generator and have the whole book read aloud by me
Right.
So all these photos here, man, oh man, if evidence wasn't, you know, a tricky thing back in the 80s and 90s and where we are now, evidence now is just like, well, what are we going to do with all this aside from like actually bringing in a body, right? Like that's what we got, the physical stuff. So I say, damn the evidence, let's push towards experience, because experience is a whole different thing, right? Like we can't we have blurry creatures. We don't have money shots like Gimlin does. And why is that? Well, I have my suspicions, but if you can actually go out and tell people, say, hey, there's these hot spots, and if you're patient and you listen to what the natives say, maybe you can have an experience. Maybe you don't want another one again. But I don't know about evidence anymore. I don't even know if I know about physical evidence anymore, just based upon every time someone brings in physical evidence, they always get the S kicked out of them, no matter what, unless it's blessed by, you know, the Pope of Bigfoot. And
Yeah.
so that's where we have a problem, because we cannibalize evidence if it's not blessed properly. And so experience.
Oh, I'm with you there.
And Scott, I gotta apologize. I didn't see your picture up in the right hand corner. I didn't have my glasses on, so now I got my glasses on. Your picture that you took up there. There's two pictures on there that are real, I think.
Okay. Well,
And if I cut out again because my stupid internet's messed up on me.
So I have to admit something. Can you see my cursor on the screen?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah, I took that photo. I took this photo, and I also took this photo, and also a friend of mine took that photo. So
is that up on a rock there?
This one here is the one standing on a rock, but it was like almost 2 miles away up on a hill. But what the deal was here is all these photos well, not this one, but this one here, all these is ones that I have taken. But I will not stand here and tell you they were Bigfoot. This one I will, because I've got enough backup evidence to try to back that one up. And I had an eyewitness with me, and I smelt them. I wish I could have like recovered that smell and somehow share it with you, but you know that. So this one I really have all the evidence for, but all these other ones I really don't.
Mm-hmm.
But that comes from me knowing where hot spots are and spending 150 days a year in the woods like I do. So there's that.
What's that one in the middle right there? It's like he just stepped out of the bathtub or something.
This one here? that was from.
It looks like he needs to take some fiber.
Yeah. That one's actually from a few years ago, and it was off a video that was on an eagle's nest. I don't know if you guys remember that one.
Whoa.
The Bigfoot walking below the eagle. I know Nikki just shook her head. You know about that one, right?
Yeah, it was a hoax. It was the game and fish guy that was walking down there and knew that the eagle cam was set up.
Okay.
But I don't know. I don't have his name.
Yeah.
I had his name, but I don't have it now. I don't know where it is back here.
But I'm really with Tobe. In fact, I've been saying this since Photoshop came out, is like photographs of Bigfoot are worthless as evidence. And especially today, like you said, with AI, they just got better, you know. But
yeah, and I'm not saying don't go for it, because that's the fun of playing Bigfoot. But it really just increases your mindset when you're in the field that, hey, I know that it's possible now to get a picture of them. I can't tell my neighbor about it because they're going to think it's BS, but it's for you. It's just like, it's a way to kind of push your own envelope a little bit. But, you know, I'm full of contradictions. Like if I got really good video, I would want people to think that it's real if I saw it, you know. It'd probably be harder for me, like on game cam, to push that forward. But if you see it and you get a video of it and you know where you are, of course you want people to believe you. And I get it.
Right. You know, well, I'm still trying too. I just got some brand new game cameras that a company that just literally went on the market 2 weeks ago, or about a month ago actually. But they have thermal game cameras now that take thermal shots and IR shots, but they're triggered by the heat walking in front of them. So the IR isn't on at all until it flashes the photo. So, and so we're going to be experimenting with those, so I can show you a thermal shot and an IR shot at the same time.
Right.
But like I said, nobody will believe me anyway.
Right.
So
I won't be getting any of those unless I hit the lottery.
yeah.
I get the $30 Walmart ones.
Well, Squatch and Cowboy, we need to get you a Venmo. We'll post it on here for the
yeah, exactly. Yeah. We'll do that.
What scares me about it is I had 3 cameras stolen down Sam Houston National Forest down there. And even though they were the $30 ones, I mean, $30 a piece, that's $90 right there. Then you had 8 batteries and you got the SD cards. And so that's a lot for a poor boy like me. I mean, when I lose 3 cameras, that's a lot for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, especially these thermal ones I've got are $700 a piece, and they have lithium
Yeah,
batteries.
I don't think I'll be getting any of those.
Yeah, so
It's a good Christmas present, Scott.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Was that a Valentine's to you, Scott?
Yeah. No. How I got them is I'm a good hustler, and they are sponsoring my YouTube channel, and we are advertising for them, and that's how I got the cameras.
Okay.
So
Well, I'm advertising for them.
there you go.
It just scares me that somebody's going to steal them, though. That's why I don't want to spend a lot of money on them.
Yeah. I'm going to figure out a way to lock these down somehow. I mean, they do make lock boxes for trail cameras that you can chain them to a tree with padlocks, so it's a little harder. But so I'm gonna move on to this evidence, the footprint evidence.
Yeah, one of those looks really familiar.
Does it? Would it be this one here?
It's way less inline than I was hoping too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
So
well, I mean, maybe I've been burned. Maybe Scott has been burned by Bigfoot evidence, but it leads to an interesting place. Not every hoax is worthless. Some of these hoaxes are in Bigfoot habitat, right? Like they know, hoaxers know where Bigfoot places are and Bigfooters are. And so it brings eyeballs. In my case, the London Trackway, or part 2 that you and Hannah cast with
which is this here.
Yeah, with the Army Corps. It is absolutely in a hot spot. But who in the heck would be hoaxing tracks, 10 years apart? They look the same, they act the same, they're not as in line as the London tracks. They're pretty in line. What was the step length on that?
32.
Yeah, I mean, see, like, I don't know what to say about that. I would love to meet, like, I think I've met a hoaxer, right? Like the guy that did the LB Trackway, at least the guy that got blamed for the LB Trackway, his name's Ryan. And they're shady guys. Like, they don't want confrontation. They don't want to, like, celebrate their hoax generally. They kind of want to, which is weird, right? Like, you would think they'd want to appreciate their work. Like, I did it, I'm the asshole. And they don't want to do it. They generally want to sleek away. And I don't understand that. But, because that would take a lot of work to pull some of these off. Much more. And we've thought about, like, how people could have done this. Like, there's rumors that people come in on hang gliders and they come down over the lake bed so they can get the step length to exaggerate itself as they land. There's rumors that they ride their bicycles and then they wear rubber stompers and they carry their bicycles to give them weight distribution. and then they get on their bike and ride away. So it's like a weird universe, right?
That's a lot of work for a hoax.
It's
It
a lot
is.
of work. Yeah.
That
So
one
I
big
don't
track
know.
that
It's a
I
weird
found,
world.
the big track that I found down Sabine River bottoms, the river had gone down. It was all muddy out there, and there's briars and thorn bushes and copperheads and timber rattlers and poison ivy and poison oak. And I mean, I was way out there in the woods, and I found one. And I found 3 of them actually, but 2 of them we couldn't really make out. But if somebody's going to hoax something, they're not going to go out there like where I found that track. They're not going to go out there in that crap.
Right.
Well, yeah, that's one of the things that I always do is, well, we have found tracks in places where nobody knew that anybody would probably be there ever, in places like that, like where I got my photo. And actually this track here, these are all actually photos of tracks that I have found myself. So this track here was a 16-inch track from my photo. Okay, from where I got my photo. This was a year earlier, and lo and behold, this track here is actually 10 miles south of Deduct Springs. But where this track was, I mean, we hiked up a trail that went, it was a 3-mile trail that goes into this lake, but 2.5 miles, I just made a left and just walked into the woods for another 2 miles. And I found this track next to a creek,
Right.
So nobody knew.
I was with the hand beside it.
What's that?
The one with the hand beside it. That's what you're talking about?
Oh, this one, the one with the tape measure here. But, but so that's one I can say. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, teacher. It takes casting these tracks to really understand what you're looking at. There was some tracks within the last 2 weeks near me, and it took me casting the footprints to find out it had a tread. They had 5 toes. They were sandals. They weren't ones I recognized. They were rained on. And once I threw hydrocal on it, I could see a little bead of tread towards the medial side of the foot. So you have to cast these tracks, first of all, to find out what you're looking with. The ones that you found in London there, they look like they have morphology in the mud there, that first one in particular. And the size, by the way, is about 3 inches larger than the ones from 2012. So that's not a match. But it also takes duplicating it and trying to reconstruct the trackway and figuring it out on camera and sharing the data of the hoax that you think is the hoax on camera with the world. And not everybody does that. And I don't know why. I don't know why they don't do that. They should do that. That's something that needs to be done. That's something we've tried to do in transparency with all the physical evidence. It's like, here's us trying to recreate it. Here's the camera. Here's the same substrate. If you're not doing that, you're just, your chances of doing it later are slim to none because you don't have the same weather system. You don't have the same groundwater. You don't have the same month. You don't have a lot of stuff. You may not even have the same people there. So you go to war with the army you got, not the army you want. And that's something that, more people need to do. There's TV crews out there right now, Bigfoot TV crews out there right now that have never heard of hydrocal. Did you know that?
Okay.
That's what
They don't even know what it is. They have no idea. They literally think it's $15 plaster from Ace Hardware, and that's good enough. These are like shows, right? Like they have Bigfooters on them. That's crazy. That's just, I'm passionate about. That's a crazy thing.
Well, you talk about casting. That one big print I found out Sabine River bottoms, I didn't have my casting material on me.
Yeah.
I had to go all the way back home and get it. And when I came back, the hogs walked right through that track.
Yep.
See? Yep, that's why you got to have that Ziploc baggie ready to go, full of Pablo Escobar's goodness.
In my backpack, I have in my backpack with two 16-ounce water bottles to carry water in. So, and like I said, that's the biggest. It devastated me because I said, "Oh man, look at this track! It's perfect, had tools and everything." And dumbass me, I wasn't ready. I preach this all the time too, and every time I do something wrong, like record it or something, you know, and don't have my recorder going or my camera going. And
well, you know, Cliff taught me when in doubt, cast it. And that's absolutely true. It cost us nothing to get a freezer bag full of hydrocal and forget about it in your backpack. And you can pretty much find water anywhere. Like if you have a little thing, a bottled water, leave one full or carry a Camelback with you. You can mix the stuff in the bag. It doesn't have to be perfect. So every Bigfooter, go get some hydrocal. And if you think you found a track, just get your camera out, put a size comparison object there, like a dollar bill, if you still have one. I don't have any dollar bills at this moment. Borrow one from your girlfriend, and then take a photo, and then cast it. So it's frustrating when Bigfooters don't have plaster or casting material or hydrocal.
Yeah, I am sad that Fix It All went out of business, but
it
I
did.
don't know if it did.
Yeah, the problem with that is that it molds though, but it's good in a pinch, but it does collect water on it.
But yeah, I just carry my plaster in a bag, and I carry an extra bag with me, and I can go find a creek or some water somewhere, fill up that other bag, and then there's my water. So
yeah, I've heard people using hairspray, spray hairspray in there before they put the hydrocal, which I use. Well, I haven't used it yet, but I have hydrocal. Yeah. If I remember to take it with me all the time, I might be able to cast something.
Yeah, the hairspray is a good thing to bond stuff together before you cast it, but especially in snow. I know you don't have that problem in Texas so much, Joe, but
what the hell is that?
When you're casting in snow, you spray it with a hairspray. It gives it enough thermal barrier while the stuff's heating up. It's not going to melt the snow out, and you get a good track that way. Good cast. But
Rabbit Homesteading has a good question right there, or a comment.
This one?
Yep.
This may sound weird, but maybe even urine for water, okay, can do it a pinch. Yeah.
Never touch the yellow tracks. Stay away from the yellow casts, people.
Yeah.
I just see it taking a Cliff, and Cliff say, "Why is this cast yellow?"
Yeah.
Now you know.
So I have. We're doing a series of sportsman shows right now that we'll set up a little booth, and I have my little museum set up with all the historic tracks and some of my tracks in there. And we have people come in all the time and can look directly at these casts sitting in front of them and say Bigfoot doesn't exist. Why do you think that is?
When they were growing up, nobody ever told them about Bigfoot. Like when I did that little show I did in my granddaughter's school. I bet half the class there had never even had a clue what Bigfoot was. Some of them did, but said nobody ever told me about Bigfoot. I did. None of them knew about the Patty film.
Oh, of course.
But they just not taught about it. And if they do mention it to their parents or something, they say, "Oh, that's just a bunch of hokey pokey stuff. That ain't real." You know, so parents don't believe it, so their kids don't believe it, and their kids grow up not believing it. And until they have an experience with one or out in the woods. If any kids get out in the woods nowadays, I don't know if they do or not.
Not as much. But,
They would never experience nothing like that.
well, I've even had older folks come in like and look at all the casts, and I will show them this is the Native American history, because that's where I come from, you know, being a cultural anthropologist for Native Americans. You know, I said this is all the Native American history, and this is all the stuff that we found, and here you go. And they will fight me tooth and toenail that everything I've seen and everything I've done is a hoax. Or, you know,
Well, I mean, to admit it disrupts their worldview to a degree that it's just isolating to believe in this, right? To entertain this, you have to.
You're telling them that monsters exist because that's things of them. They're creatures in the dark. They're things of fairy tales and myths, and you're telling them it's real. So I think there's a large group of people out there that don't want that. You know, they want those to remain in the storybooks and in the nighttime stories around the campfire, but they don't want it to be real. And even some hardcore skeptics aren't like that, because we're talking about the main population of, you know, America. You know, aren't Bigfooters. Remember, we're the crazy people because we believe in Bigfoot. So those people, they don't want that. It's not real. It's just a story, and that's what they want to believe, and that's what they will teach their kids too, all the way down. That it's a fairy tale, you know. But for us, in the community, it's different. And in different ways, because if you believe in flesh and blood, you're going to believe in one way. You're going to believe in a more scientific, you want to see the evidence in front of you type. And if you're in another group, either the paranormal, the things that we can't explain, the you know, the
woo people, I'll say it.
Dimensional stuff, all that, then you're looking for different evidence over there, because it's more, I think, experience bound. I experienced mind speak. I experienced this feeling of being dazed and confused, or time loss, or whatever.
I feel like that all the time.
So it's going to be different. Every person's going to have their own journey for this evidence and what they believe is evidence.
Right, I totally agree. And even in some of the Native American myths and stories, you have to sometimes take this, are these boogeyman stories that they're telling their children to keep them in the tent at night? You know?
Yeah. The boogeyman, like,
yeah.
I was at a garage sale this past weekend. I go to garage sales all the time because, you know, usually a house is divided, you know, like they divorce or something, and a wife is selling the husband's tools. You get the tools.
This is the episode of King of the Hill. Go ahead. I love this.
And this guy was from Oregon, some beach up there. He was on some beach in Oregon, and he said he's seen these elk track walking along the side of the beach up there by the mountain or something. And he said he started following these elk track, and then he's seen these big footprints, like a human footprint, come down and start following this elk. And he said he went on down about 100 more yards like this, and the elk track stopped, and the Bigfoot tracks kept on going back up into the woods. He says he thinks Bigfoot killed that elk and carried it off into the woods. And I said, so you believe in Bigfoot? And he goes, no. I'm like, what? What the hell? You just told me a Bigfoot story, and he said you don't believe it. What human is going to kill an elk in the track, in their tracks, and carry it off? And I don't know much about elk, but I don't think a man could just kill one and carry it off into the woods.
No.
There's just going to be a large percentage of people that are going to need to see it with their own eyes. And even then, it'll be hard for them.
Mhm.
You know, you're going to have that group of them that are going to have total breakdown and have PTSD and never go out in the woods again. But they need to experience it for themselves. And nobody's going to tell them any different until they see it with their own eyes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I've only known one person that really has gone back on what they saw. Out of, the years of looking into this, usually people that are in this community talk about what they've seen, and that's that. But I've only known one guy that ever went back on what he saw and kind of wanted to unsee it and rename it. So that's a pretty rare individual. I don't know what kind of personality profile that is, but like in A Flash of Beauty, we talked to a Yale psychiatrist named Dr. Michael Adams, and he talks about how experiencing something like this, these hidden events, can bruise the brain, and you can actually see the trauma on a CT scan.
Wow.
And so when you have these kind of consequences, they're more than social consequences. There's a physical consequence for seeing some of this stuff. It's like a PTSD trauma. It's a Bigfoot lottery. It's great in some ways, but Scott, you can speak to this too. Like, there's people that have come to my booth and cried. I've seen grown men cry. I've seen bow hunters put on a pair of cans, listen to the moorhead sounds, and say, with a tear coming down their eye, I've been waiting 25 years to realize I'm not crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So, it turns powerful really quick when you see that. But
yeah, I was going to say, we have guys, I've had people that will walk by my booth and just kind of side eye me until they'll walk by several times and wait until there's no one else around.
Yeah.
And then walk in there, and then they'll fill me out. They're like, so you believe in this stuff? Yeah. And then after talking with them for 5 minutes or so, then they'll say, well, this is what happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell anybody, but kind of stuff.
Right.
So
I think that happens a lot.
mm-hmm.
People just want to hold it back in. It's too big of an ordeal for them. So they don't want to tell anybody because they'll think they're stupid or crazy, or should be in a mental hospital. So they just won't tell anybody.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, it changes your whole paradigm of existence, but.
And I love these people that come that say, oh, if I ever seen a Bigfoot in the woods, I'd be calm and collect and talk to it. Man, you don't know how you're going to act if you see a Bigfoot in the woods.
Right.
You cannot tell. You might think that's what I would like to do. But in reality, I'd probably seem like a little girl and run off, back to the truck or something. You can't tell.
Well, I can tell you what I did. It was like, oh my God, is that a face down there? That's exactly what I said.
Mm-hmm.
So you're excited about
it. I said, was that a face? I'm looking at a face. But that was it. That's all I said. Mm-hmm. Took one picture, and then I heard this whistle, and I'm like, what was that? And then they were gone. So that was it. But so we got a question here for the panel. What's the best evidence of Bigfoot out there, in your opinion?
That is out there? Golly.
The best evidence? The best evidence.
The P&G film?
Yeah.
Not pictures. It has to be video. Video, moving objects are always better than pictures.
Oh, there he goes.
Yeah.
The fact that they had prints from that as well is also a plus.
And I have one that somebody gave me.
Yeah. Yeah. Signed even.
Yeah. Signed and dated.
So
Well, let's talk about the PG film because it is one of the best, right? And it can't be duplicated. But why is that? It's from 67. It's not digital 4K anything. It's actually better than 4K because you can get in closer with it with that
Right.
type of film. And it just keeps giving more data every year. It hasn't been disproven to my satisfaction, to Disney's satisfaction, to special effects people from Planet of the Apes satisfaction, to Bill Munn's. Right? If anybody has not read the Munn's report, there's your proof. The guy that invented the swamp thing, he spent his whole life trying to debunk at first, I believe, the footage. And as a special effects expert, came up with the Munn's report, which is this huge scientific paper from an expert on special effects on why it's real. And, you know, Bob is a good guy. I don't know, never met Patty Patterson. It doesn't matter if Bob's a good guy. That film can't be debunked. And maybe it's smaller, maybe it's bigger. Maybe shenanigans happened at Bluff Creek. It doesn't matter. That footage is a Bigfoot. Who in their right mind would ever go through the expense of building boobs? You know how hard it is to duplicate flappy boobs in 1967 with what's called a cowl, which is the part here on the collarbone. When you turn your head and there's a cowl attached to a costume, you better have on like a Planet of the Apes uniform to hide it because that cowl is going to turn with the shoulders. Patty does not reveal that. That's a flesh and bone creature.
I seen a video the other day. I can't remember what I seen it on, but they said that Bob Haramas put footballs in his costume, and those weren't boobs; they were footballs, and not breast.
Well, I don't know what to say. Where, you know, Bob Hieronymus, I guess, and Roger Patterson are neighbors, or at least were at one time, but nobody in that inside circle has ever come forward and said that that event was staged or faked. And the amount of people that have gone and had experiences in Bluff Creek, people should look into that. You go to Bluff Creek and you're going to have Bigfoot encounters. It's just a really squatchy area.
Let's go again.
Jay Fritz says he feels better now that he has told his story about his encounter.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I believe that when you talk about it, you know, I think he kept it held in for years. And
yeah. If you want to know about the Patty film, read this book. When Roger Met Patty by William Munns.
There you go.
Also, Paul Dogman, I have not been to Australia. Have any of y'all been to Australia looking for the Yowie?
No.
I did once.
Yeah.
Well, there's your answer, Paul.
Yeah.
I've been to Australia looking for Yowie.
Nothing happened. It looks like the Tasmanian tiger, the thylacine, though, is real. So
yeah,
that's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah. So, okay, here's another question. How come? What do we do with these reports? Do you believe everybody who tells you their Bigfoot story?
Do I believe what they tell me?
I mean, I don't know if you've spent any time in the Bigfoot world. I know I have heard, oh gosh, thousands of reports from people. Literally, I would have to say thousands. Probably within the last 5 years, you know. And so what makes a credible Bigfoot report? And is it evidence?
I've had people find out what I do. I have a YouTube channel. Some of the stuff they say is kind of way out there, you know. But some of them, you could tell by just their expressions on their face that something happened. They've seen something that they can explain. But the ones that come out there and say, well, I seen this Bigfoot. He was over in the woods riding a four-wheeler. You know, that just kind of blows it out of the water for me.
I don't know. You can, there's subtleties, right? They'll mention nuances of their encounter. They'll say weird things. Like, gosh, what's a weird thing that's a subtle clue that it's a real encounter, that's not paranormal? They'll say things like, I shouldn't have brought my gun. Or they'll get like a feeling, like a gut feeling, like the fact that they had a camera. Maybe the experience wouldn't have happened if they would have brought a camera. And these are people that believe in flesh and blood stuff, right? And they say, I wonder if this would have happened if I would have had a camera with me. Well, that's a pretty weird thing to say, especially, I don't know. It's something I would pay attention to. Or the fact that the tracks were not only in line, but they maybe were a little deeper or a little bit lighter than they should have been for the substrate. That's something Bigfooters look for. Like, they shouldn't be this deep in that kind of substrate. They should be a little bit deeper than that in that kind of substrate. That's stuff that we don't usually talk about, but that's like a clue that something else may be going on here and legit. So I say look for like the little things and don't talk about them much. Kind of just keep a secret little notebook. Like, well, people, this is what I'm finding in my field guide, and this is adding up. So if they say this, then I guess this might be leaning towards authentic. But you can kind of tell when people are reliving something, like they get emotionally involved with the story. They relive it.
Yeah. To be honest with you, a lot of times I'll watch people's arms to see if their hair stands up on their arms when they're telling the story. And it happens a lot.
There you go. That's totally goosebumps. Yep.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of people ask me, how come all the pictures are blurry? Well, unless you're like, y'all and me going out carrying a camera looking for Bigfoot, if you're hiking down a trail and you don't have your camera or your phone in your hand, the first thing you think of if you see a Bigfoot is not taking a picture of it. You're going, oh, shoot. And then you might grab your phone and whoop it out and try to take a picture. And when you're shaking by that time,
yeah,
or it's gone, it's there's a lot of reasons why you can't get a good clear picture of a Bigfoot, I think.
Or there's a giant out of focus monster in the woods, and that's frightening.
Bing, 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 bing. We have a winner. I've heard people say they've looked through their white rifle scope and they couldn't shoot because it looked too human. That's a big one. When people say it looked like I was going to shoot a human, that's a big one.
Yeah. I've heard them.
Yeah. There's a great. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, what about eyewitness accounts that come from individuals who have reputable jobs, like maybe park rangers or hunters, hiker, wildlife people out there in the woods all the time, and now they're retired and they're coming out with stories. They're not obligated to hold anything back anymore. Do you guys weight those a little heavier to the true side? I kind of do.
Yeah, I do too.
Hey, Brent Woodson. Brent's a friend of mine.
Like, I've heard stories from Kip Merle. Do you know who he is?
Yeah.
Ex Bureau of Land Management firefighter dude. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I heard Justin Sherpinski on Mountain Beast Ministry say one time that everybody says, well, a cop told me this, or a governor told me this, or a mayor. He says, what makes them more credible than me or you,
Right.
Which is true, because there's bad cops out there that lie, there's bad mayors, and the government, how they are. I don't know if I can say that.
Maybe we trust them government officials less. Yeah.
Can you edit that from the video here?
Yeah, but Nikki brings a good point. When Nikki says, do we trust? Of course, we kind of have to. Like, if a cop, like Rich Germeau, right? He's in our documentary. He was on duty in La Push, Washington when he had his encounter. These are trained experts of visual things that they need to be aware of. Is it a threat? Is it not a threat? And so we have to take these guys more serious than just someone who's had a sighting.
Well, my friend Kenny that goes with you, y'all see him in the videos. And let's say a prayer for him because his dad's not doing very well right now. That's why we canceled our Oklahoma trip, because his dad's real bad off. But anyway, Kenny's a Kaufman County sheriff. And he was there when we heard them tree knocks in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, he's incredible because he was, you know, he takes a pledge to be honest, you know, and tells what he hears and what he sees. And like I said, we was both there, so we knew what was going on. We knew what it was. We didn't see it, but like I said, Kenny's a Kaufman County sheriff. And like I say prayers for Kenny's dad, because we had to cancel our Oklahoma trip up there where 2 9-foot Bigfoots were spotted, which I think it was one because it was passing through 2 properties, and two people reported seeing this Bigfoot. So I think it's just one going across the properties, but they said there was 2. We was going up there and interview them people, but we thought it wouldn't be a good idea to go up there and while Kenny's dad's in bad shape.
Yeah. I was going to say, one of my Bigfooting partners in Eastern Oregon is a deputy sheriff. And he had his encounters, mostly tree knocking stuff, but and he seems pretty credible to me, but he won't go in the woods with me anymore because he read Missing 411 books. But
I know. That's funny. I wonder if I mean, that really is the case with people that read those books, is that it puts the fear of God as far as national parks.
So,
yeah, Brent says a live specimen.
Live specimen. Yeah.
Well, that's the true skeptic's way to believe Bigfoot is a physical.
It is.
That's what they demand, is you have to have that body, you know.
Right.
You have to have the proof that the DNA you're pulling off of that is coming from that specimen, you know.
Exactly.
And then will the scientists say that we can use that as something to compare the hair samples to? Are they going to say, oh, well, let's just put it on the back shelf and somewhere and never see it again?
Right.
Yeah. Well, the great Grover Krantz once said, "You'll have to have a body and drag it from university to university and rubs people's face in it before they'll believe it." Yeah. That's what he said.
Probably.
You know, I just watched Sasquatch Odyssey on Freevee. I hadn't seen it in a long time. I think it was filmed in the early 80s, and Grover Krantz is in it. And he seemed like he was miserable with looking into the subject matter. In fact, he says a quote just like, "I wish I would have never looked into this. It's been a nightmare." You know, that's a powerful thing, right, for this guy to say on TV when he's supposed to be the Bigfoot guy. And you have to wonder where that came from. I don't know, but that caught me off guard. I don't remember seeing that when I was a kid.
Well, he was scrutinized pretty heavily for a lot of things, you know.
It could be.
But
Actually, he was 1 floor down at Washington State University from Dr. Simeon Hine, who wrote Dark Matter Monsters, which has a whole different take on what's going on. But Simeon was actually a professor underneath Grover Krantz at UW, and they never knew one another. First of all, their research was totally incompatible. But, you know, it's a small world we live in, and it eventually converges, and we have these relationships, you know, down the road with people that we might not have met or known about. And, you know, this generation is getting older. I mean, a lot of these guys are in their 70s and 80s. So now's the time to get to know the Grover Krantzes of the world before you can't, because it's just a I don't know if you can get to a conference and actually engage with some of these old dogs that have been in this fight. I would do it because they may not be here next year or the year after that.
Mm-hmm.
Always wanted to see John Bindernagel. I always wanted to meet him. But Jen was talking about don't hold a camera up like you might be holding a gun or something. I never do. I carry my dad around my waist. I never, ever wear camo out in the woods because of Bigfoot. They see you wearing camo, they're going to say, hey, man, that must be a hunter right there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm out here. So, like I said, I wear this like I'm wearing right now out there.
I like it.
All right. So we're getting close to the top of the hour here. So I want to throw out one last thing. I'll tell you what, as far as the evidence goes myself, I have quit. And I think a lot of Bigfooters come to this conclusion. But after, that was probably, I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. I mean, 25 years, but nobody knew about it because I was working for universities and couldn't talk about it or we'd lose funding for stuff, you know, but I was going to say up to the last 5 years, I've quit trying to prove that Bigfoot exists.
Yep.
I'm just done with it. You know,
I just want to see one. I want to see one. If I see one, I want to share with everybody.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out how they live now. I want to know, being a cultural anthropologist, I want to know their culture. I know they got to have one. So, I think we can show people all the evidence in the world, but unless you're willing to accept it, it's not evidence. So
yeah, well, a lot of people want that repeatable observation. You know, they want that sightings and the encounters that to be able to duplicate it over and over, and that doesn't happen.
But it does happen.
Not like for you. But if I went out there, would I be able to duplicate what you do? You know.
But I'm talking just reports I get. Conical heads, big brow ridges, little button noses, flat mouths. They glide when they walk. I mean, these are common things I hear all the time. So we do have that repeatable evidence from eyewitnesses. You know, it looked like it was floating. Well, if you ever watched Patterson's film, watch how it walks. I've literally took the film and drew a line from the shoulder on one corner to the shoulder to the other on my editing program. And when it walks, its shoulder never goes up or below that line.
You should show that video. I'd like to see that on the YouTube channel. I want to see you recreate that.
Okay, you can do that.
Also, I think I asked this last time. What kind of nose do you think they have? What do they know? More human or more gorilla?
More human.
That's what I think. But all the AI pictures you see and all the other ones like this have a gorilla nose. You can sit there and put it, make me a Bigfoot, blah, blah, blah on AI, and every one of them come back with a gorilla nose.
Because, you know, at the bottom of those AI imagery software, they always say, how did your image come out? You need to put on there, the nose was not right. It should be a hooded nose, and send that every time you do one. If you want that to get back to the software engineers who are inputting the information, because that's how it learns from whoever's behind the keyboard telling it where to get information. So you have to tell it these things. And that's what's happening is a lot of people put on there, no, we want to see it more like this artist or this type of art. And it'll go into that server what's it called? It has a specific name, and it will eventually, that stuff the more people input what they feel Bigfoot is. Like right now, hands and feet are getting better. Have you noticed that there's some that are still behind, but DALL-E 3 is already fixing hands and feet. There's no more 8 fingers on one hand and stuff.
Yeah.
It's starting to fix itself because people are sending back, feedback on the images they're getting. So that's what's going to be really scary is all of that as people are inputting that to these different, all the different AI imagery generators, they're going to get better. They're going to get better because people are demanding that they get better. And let's just hope that they put that metadata into their imagery so that we can detect it later, which is happening. I found an article about it, and it's happening.
Let's not teach the robot stuff.
That's what's happening, though. It is. And
the reason I bring it up is we talk about people telling their Bigfoot stories, and you ask them, well, what did you see the face? What did the face look like? And most of them say, well, it looked like a gorilla. And I'm like, well, if they say that kind of, I mean, I don't know. I've never seen one, so, but I picture him with a more human face than a gorilla face. There might be some out there the gorilla knows. I don't know.
Right here, I have a CNBC article about AI impact, and it says that OpenAI is also building a detection classifier that can identify Sora-generated video clips, and that it plans to include a certain metadata in its output that should help with identifying AI-generated content. And in the same type of metadata that like Meta uses is looking to identify AI-generated images as well. So it's coming. It's just, to help us identify these fake stuff. And the reason why they're doing it is because of political reasons, because of the political season that we're coming into. They have already had a number of people try to create fake political content.
No.
So they're going to make it happen fast. For that reason, not for our Bigfoot reason, but for political reasons.
Well, cool. Thank you all. I think we're getting about time to wrap this up. I know Tobe's got another show tonight you're doing later with my good friend Jeremy Scott, Into the Parabnormal.
Oh, yeah. You know stuff. Yes, we do.
Yes, I do know stuff. Well, I'm good friends with Jeremy Scott.
Okay,
Into the
cool.
Paranormal. So
it looks for Bigfoot and knows things.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's right.
You need a shirt that says that. I look for Bigfoot.
Yeah.
That's good.
All right. So, Nikki, what do you got coming up?
I'm gonna have a show on Sunday. It's gonna be an open mic, but I can't tell you the topic yet because I don't release my new shows till Friday.
Okay, all right, cool.
I have to do that. If you know, you know. But so it's gonna be a great topic and something that I haven't seen around, and hopefully I can get some folks over there to join me. I haven't put out any feelers on anybody, so if you guys would like to jump onto something, we'll take a quick gander at my promo I'll put out on Friday, and if you want to join, just let me know, and we can have a little conversation.
Cool.
When is that,
Joe,
Friday?
Sunday. My show's Sunday 5 p.m. Mountain, but I'll put the promo out on Friday for everybody, so you know what.
All right, Joe, what do you got coming up?
Well, like I say, we was going to Oklahoma. We was going to spend about 5 days up there, and until Kenny's dad came across this, and also plan on going back down to Sam Houston National Forest. Some people have messaged me and told me that I should go check out this one place. I'm not going to say where it is. It's in Sam Houston National Park, and I got a little video coming out, just a little short video about my friends.
Cool. And Tobe?
What do I have coming up besides Jeremy?
Jeremy Scott didn't do the pair abnormal.
On the 5th, I believe it is, the 5th and 6th will be in Medellin Falls for a film premiere. If you're up northern Washington on the Canadian border, I think the Medellin Falls event is in April, but they're also having, or late April, they're having a film premiere for Flash of Beauty Part 2, Paranormal Bigfoot. So I'll be up there with my wood creations and my statues and my books. And
Is that the Medellin Falls Bigfoot Festival?
well, they have a I think it's called the Selkirk Film Festival. It's near
okay,
Medellin Falls. Yeah.
Right.
That's Russell's.
Okay, that's Russell's thing. Yeah, we are. I'm actually speaking at the Medellin Falls Bigfoot Festival, but that's later.
Yeah. So Selkirk is near it, right? I don't want to get lost.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So just check out our website. For me, we're booked at 14 Bigfoot festivals and a baseball game this year. So
you got an easy schedule then, right?
Yeah. We're something new came up. Yeah, the Eugene, the farm team for the San Francisco Giants is what are they called? The Eugene Emeralds baseball team. They're a minor league team. That's their logo. Bigfoot is their logo. They're having a Sasquatch appreciation game, and we're going to be the guests there speaking about Bigfoot stuff. So
you're not playing?
No.
No.
Darn.
Well, I'm going to make Hannah throw out the first pitch, though. That'll be funny. Okay.
Come on, Hannah.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everybody.
All right. I'm going to press some buttons here.
Prayers for Kenny's dad.
Okay. Pray for Kenny's dad. Bye, guys.